Hello, and welcome to In Your Shoes, a show where we will get to know our students, celebrate their successes, hear about their challenges, and literally walk in their shoes for the next 30 minutes. I am HCC's president and your host, Dr. Daria Willis, and I'm so glad that you are here with us today. Our first guest brings us a powerful story of tragedy, perseverance, and love. I'm honored to have Jasmira Smothers in studio with me today. Hey, Jasmira.
Hey.
How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I am well, that you're here, that you're with us, and let's get into her bio. Jasmira is a 26-year-old born and raised certified Jersey girl. In 2018, she started her life right here in Maryland, which she now calls her home. Jasmira is a self-published author, a motivational speaker, a certified nursing assistant, a certified medication technician, and a nursing student-to-be right here at Howard Community College. That was a lot. I'm tired just reading all of that. I don't know how you can do it, but that's amazing. Now, you may recognize her face as she has appeared on our website's homepage, and she was the woman on an HCC billboard wearing bright blue scrubs with a yellow stethoscope around her neck. Jasmira graduated with her associate degree in general studies last semester, and she couldn't quite stay away from us even though she tried. Jasmira's why is something that can touch anyone's heart. And on April 12th of 2020, Jasmira unfortunately experienced a tragic loss, probably the most tragic of them all. But she has used that to continue on and create a legacy in remembrance of her loved one, and is part of what has brought her back to HCC. But Jasmira is very busy. She is currently on the path of becoming a pediatric primary care nurse practitioner, working on her ordination to be a pastor someday, and starting a nonprofit in remembrance of her loved one. Her story is always motivating for anyone who wishes to conquer the world and remain dedicated to their goals no matter what may come in their way. Everyone, this is the amazing, the incomparable, the wonderful Jasmira Janae Smothers. So I'd like to start our conversation today going back to April 12th, 2020, a day that has become a big part of your story and who you are. Would you please share your story with us and a little bit about yourself that I haven't already mentioned in your bio?
Sure. So, April 12th, we'll start there, and then we'll go into more about me. Because since April 12th, I am a totally different person. Someone that has grown, someone that has changed, and someone that has persevered through everything that I've been through. So previous to April 12th, we'll go back to April 11th. I was sitting in my bed. I remember sitting up, my bed was set up against the window. And as I looked out the window, I thought it was just another day. And I sat there, I was reading a book, and it was the best day ever, because those days when you're a mother and your child is away from you, we all can appreciate those days. So I was home just relaxing, and all of a sudden my phone started to ring, and it was my son's father. And as I opened the FaceTime call, I saw someone that I've known since I was 5 years old, who was screaming, crying because something was not right. And I had never seen him cry like that in our years of knowing each other. And all he said was, "You have to get to my house right now. You have to get here right now." And I'm thinking, I can't get there too quickly because he's in New Jersey and I'm here in Maryland. But then I heard the EMTs in the background, and they were saying he has no pulse. We're doing all that we can, but he has no pulse. And I blacked out. All I remember is that I got from Maryland to New Jersey in about an hour and 15 minutes, when it usually takes me 3 hours. But I was receiving the call because it was my son. It was my son that was no longer breathing on his own. And I'm a mom, and I had to get there as soon as I could. And this was April 11th. So for less than 24 hours, I sat at the bedside of my 2-year-old son, who was suffering after a tragic loss, after a tragic moment of not being able to understand what was happening because he was only 2. And when I got there to the hospital, I asked the doctors if he was okay or if he could feel pain. And they said he could feel no pain at all. And that's because by the time I got there, my son was, as they call it, a vegetable. Mm. And on April 12th, which was Easter Sunday for me, I looked at my son, and as I felt his body, he began to grow cold. And I knew what a cold body meant. And I knew that it was time for me to let my son go. And that was April 12th for me. I spent Easter Sunday wearing a face of someone that's a strong mother, someone that had to push through this, someone that was making the decision to not let go of my child and let go of my own life, but to use what I was going through as motivation to start the journey that was coming after my loss. So that was April 12th from me in 2020. And now we fast forward to 2022. So 2 years have passed by since my loss. And I am now standing in the shoes of a 26-year-old. So you got to think, 2 years ago, I was only 24. So I'm a child myself in the midst of being a grieving mother, in the midst of young adulthood, where I'm trying to figure out who I am, when I'm trying to build relationships and figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life. It was the hardest years thus far that I had to get through and that I'm still getting through because my time is not done yet, obviously. So since my loss, I've become a certified nursing assistant. I've become a certified medication technician. I graduated with a college degree. I've done all these things, but yet somehow I still feel so empty because something is missing physically. But a lot of people remind me that mentally and emotionally, there has been no detachment of my son. We are still joined in one, even though he's not here physically. And sometimes those words mean a lot to me, but they're not enough. So I made the decision, as you said, to become a primary care pediatric nurse practitioner. But that is a journey that is hard to overcome and to get through and to try and push towards, because I myself have lost a child. So as I try and take care of other children, it makes me not only be someone that can empathize for the parents because I've been there, but I can also sympathize with them and know what they're going through and also understand why they are the way that they are in those moments, because you feel helpless. When you can't help your own child, you become helpless and you look for hope, but it's none there. So I'm just moving on. And sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's hard, but I'm pushing through. Yeah.
Well, Jasmira, I don't know if I have the words to say. I remember when you first told me your story when we first met in my office, I don't know, several months back, when I started at the college. But you are truly an inspiration, because I don't know how many people would still be able to get up every day and keep moving. Obviously, it's not easy. I'm so sorry for your loss, but you are truly an inspiration to multitudes of people out there, even people who don't know you, who don't know your story. And I'm hoping that this opportunity, if there's somebody out there struggling through the same thing, they can hear this story and be able to move forward.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? What's been the biggest challenge along the way? You have so many accolades, being a self-published author, walking across the stage this past, May? How did you do it? And it's only been 2 years. What's been that biggest challenge that that you had to overcome?
The biggest challenge thus far is knowing that I have no choice. So the reason why I do it and I get up every day is because I have no choice. A lot of parents that I've spoken to, they've told me their stories because as a motivational speaker and a self-published author, the niche that I work in is, of course, mental health. And this was prior to my loss. My first book was published in 2017 when I was a stay-at-home mom. So I had a fan base prior to my loss. My TikTok is viral. My YouTube is doing a great job. Facebook, actually, if we could go back, when my son passed away, I went live on Facebook and I told my story and people were like, how can you sit there and not shed a tear when your child just passed away? And there were some good comments, but there were also some bad. And I woke up the next morning and I had 1.6 million views. But along with that came a GoFundMe with $16,817. And if some of you know, funerals run between $8,000 to $12,000. But because of who I was, because of who I am and how strong I am, those people saw me and they still see me to this day. And that's what drives me to continue on as well, because there's somebody that needs me. And although my son is no longer here and I feel as if I don't have any work to do and I don't have anyone to take care of, there's a lot of people that are suffering with, we said my loss is the toughest of them all, but that's my story. Somebody else could have lost a dog and the weight that they carry is heavier than what I carry, because we all have our own stories. So the way that I get through every day, the way that I've been getting through is just by knowing that I have no choice, first of all, because obviously my work here is not done. And then on top of that, there's somebody in this world that still needs me. And I always say, as long as I can touch one life today, that's all that matters. Yeah. So
Amen,
the life of
that.
others and my own life and my faith is how I do it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So how has Howard Community College played a role in just supporting you through this tragedy that has turned to just a show of wonderful perseverance and strength and just the love that you have, not only for your son, but just to move forward?
I remember the first time I came to Howard Community College, I actually was pursuing entrepreneurship. And you guys have like this course, random course, that teaches me how to be an entrepreneur. And I fell in love with the class, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I just, sometimes you just know, like when you're a kid, you know you're going to be a doctor or a fighter, or, you're going to do all these things. You make those decisions at the age of 5 or 8 when you're walking around in your costume for Halloween. This is who I'm going to be. But when I came to Howard Community College, the first time I stepped on campus, I knew that there was more to my story than to just be an entrepreneur. I knew that this place, as I looked around, it's a beautiful campus, not only on the outside, but on the inside as well. Every professor that has crossed my path or that I've met have been so supportive. Even prior to my loss, I was a student here. And the way that I've earned that degree last semester is because I started as a stay-at-home mom. So financially, HCC gave me the support that I needed. Mentally, HCC gave me the support that I needed right before my loss. You guys were all here for me. Unfortunately, Dr. Willis, you weren't here in the beginning. But as time went on, I had mentors here. You guys had a Jumpstart program. You have the counseling services. You guys have financial aid. You have all of these people around us that you help bring here. You guys hire them, to be of support to us, to be present and to show up. And although they may not see the worth of what they do, to us it means a lot. So financially, emotionally, just being in the presence of HCC has changed my life. And to think that it was the best place ever prior to my loss, after my loss. I remember when I first started counseling over here, And when I realized it was during the pandemic, my son passed away during the pandemic, which was even worse because no one can come see him at the hospital. But I remember the first time that I signed up for counseling after my loss. And I looked online because it had to be online. And my counselor's name was Joy. And I just knew she was the one for me. And Joy, she pushed me every single week. You know, we met once a week. And some weeks I would go on the video and I would say, Joy, not this week. I don't want to show up this week. I don't want to talk this week. And she would say, why? And it's something about, you know, somebody telling you that they don't want to do something and you asking why that helps them to keep going. So I would tell her why, and next thing I know, an hour has went by and I've told her everything that was hurting, but I finished knowing that everything was going to be okay. So from Joy and then to, you know, my professors, I just talked about Professor Westhaver, who showed me a way to get through what I was going through by just being myself. You know, she was my humanities professor. So, of course, you know, she's all about being yourself and being your best self and taking it easy on yourself. And she saw me through. And I just appreciated it. And then to think that it couldn't get any better, I walk on campus and I see this lady that looks like me. And I was wondering how she stepped into the position as a president of a college here in Columbia. And when I met you for the first time, because the person I'm talking about is Dr. Willis, I just knew that the chemistry was going to be something different, because not only were you my president at my college, but you were someone that saw something in me along with everyone else. And I can't thank you enough for, you know, just being supportive the first time you ever came in encounter with me and ever since. So yeah,
so we totally should have had some Kleenexes like right here for all of this. That is so amazing, though, that you've had an incredible amount of support at the college before, during, and after. So, and I think about that in terms of community colleges because, you know, we're smaller than some of our major universities that are around us, but there's a real joy, in my opinion, at being at a CC. I dedicated my career to community colleges because I firmly believe that students can get what they need. But what advice do you have to other universities, for example, or colleges, just given the support that you have, and maybe you know friends from other places that don't receive that same level of support? What advice would you give them, those colleges, and how to really take care of their students the way that you've gotten it right here at HCC?
Leave your doors open. I would encourage them to leave every door open for students to come on their good and bad days. Prior to you being here, I don't even know the last president's name. Even though I heard she was wonderful, I never got to experience a relationship with her because I didn't really know her. The way that you walk around campus and you show your face and you get involved with students and you make it personable on a level that's still professional, but you make us feel as if we're needed and loved, that makes a difference. So for it to be a smaller campus, me personally, a lot of people keep asking me why I have an associate's degree, but I want to stay at HCC to get my associate's in nursing before I go to a 4-year. And it's because I feel safe here. I feel safe, and I know that the campus is the perfect size for me because you guys make it personable. From the professors to the staff that clean the building, everyone, we get to see each other and we get to build relationships that are life-changing for us because you guys see us and you make paths for us to get everything that we need. I feel as if I'm spoiled here because you guys never say no. You find a way to do what it is that I need to get to where it is that I'm going. So I would just encourage other schools to make it more personable. No matter what position you stand in, be there for your students. Show your face. Let them know that you're there and that you care, because it's something about someone, even making it as personable as knowing our names. It's something about hearing your name that makes you feel special. So when you start, even if it's not with every student, there's a ton of students, but just a couple of them. Just touch a couple of them and make a difference each day. And that'll make your school great.
Beautiful. I've always said there's power in a name.
Yeah.
If we can say Alexis de Tocqueville or whomever, we can call, our students by their names, because there's power in that.
Absolutely.
So what's next in your story? I hear some ordination. We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Care to share?
Of course, yeah. Of course, I'm on my journey of getting into the nursing program here, which starts an official career path for me. I'm actually the first. I'm an only child, so it went from my grandmother to my mother, who's the only child, and then to me. Unfortunately, my mom couldn't receive her college degree because my grandmother had a moment of breast cancer, and my mom was her mother for a little while. She was taking care of my grandmother, and she wasn't able to get a college degree. So to see me walk across the stage when I did, especially after all that I've been through, that was something special for them to witness. And I want them to witness me, receiving my ADN here and then heading, to either Stevenson or the University of Maryland, because thanks to HCC, you guys make connections, and I can do a dual enrollment where I can accomplish two goals at once.
Beautiful.
So I'm looking forward to that. And then, I'm hoping, and I know I'm going to manifest my doctorate degree so that I can be a nurse practitioner and save another child's life. One life a day is what matters. So that's the first goal. When it comes to ordination, I have a high faith in the God that I believe in, and I'm on the path of ministry, using my story, because it's hard to believe that there's a God after such a loss that I've taken. And a lot of people say, how do you still believe in God when he's taken your child away from you? And for one, I always tell them my child is in a much better place than I am. And I thank God for where he's taken my son after my tragic loss. And then I also let them know that if I can call on God when everything is right, he's still going to be the same when everything is wrong. And I think that encourages and motivates people to also believe in a God each day, because if I can do it, they believe that they can do it too. So I'm allowing, my God to use me in ministry. I plan to open my own church, Square One Fellowship, because you can get there from here.
Oh, I love that.
And if you know where I got that from, that's called HCC. So you can get there from here. And I'm opening those doors for anybody, because church, a lot of people stray away from church because it's a judgmental space. They don't feel safe there because they're not wearing a suit and tie. Or, they're carrying some baggage that they can't let go of because they feel as if God won't love them anymore because of who they are or who they were. And I just want them all to come in. Come in your pajamas if you want to. Just come on in, and get to where you're trying to go right here at Square One Fellowship. So I'm on the journey of opening my own church.
Beautiful.
And then last but not least, I plan to start a nonprofit in remembrance of my son, helping other parents, because no one prepares for the loss of a child, especially a 2-year-old child. So life insurance and all those things, I was not prepared for. Paying for a funeral, I was not prepared for. But like I said, God did his work, and I was awarded $16,000 for showing my faith live on Facebook that day. And I know that there's parents out there, child loss is becoming something very extreme nowadays, especially the loss due to suicide. So I want to be there and allow the nonprofit to be available for parents to come to us to afford a funeral, to properly let go of their loved one, to lay their loved one to rest, providing them with the clothes that their child may need. They say that I personally didn't see my son in the casket, but everyone said he still looked the same in his Jordans and his tracksuit. And, I want every parent to know that their child can appear the same way when they're laid to rest, and also to provide them with clothes as well. Some families, don't have clothes themselves. So not only are we going to provide funeral costs and expenses covered by us, but we're also going to provide them with anything else they feel as if they're missing. So I have a lot of work to do, but thanks to HCC, I'm already getting started. So.
And we're going to help you along the way.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's such a beautiful, congratulations to you.
Thanks.
I mean, and I am going to say, try to get some sleep somewhere in between.
Yes,
a little rest somewhere in between. I've said that to you before, like, okay,
Yes.
Are we going to rest just a little bit?
Right.
But just your drive and determination in the midst of it all. I'm just so proud of you, if I can say that. I am super duper proud of you, and we know that you're going to be great. So what message do you have for folks listening today?
Never let anything stand in the way of what you've already envisioned. So a lot of us already know where we want to go, but there's trials and tribulations that come along that try and step in the way and get in the way of us getting to where we're going next. But all that matters is that you show up each day. And each day that you show up and you persevere and push through whatever is coming your way matters. Each day counts. So I would definitely say to keep going regardless of what you're going through. Because like when my son passed, life didn't end for me. My son's life was coming to an end, but mine did not. So I had to keep going. And I encourage everyone else to keep going too. Because what you've envisioned, it's supposed to manifest, but only you can make it a reality. So you got to keep going. Whoever you are, you just got to keep going.
Well, I think that sums up whatever else we need to say. But from the bottom of my heart, it takes a lot of courage to be so vulnerable with your personal story to help others. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
I know some groaner folks. I'm saying groaner, the what's that show? Grownish.
Uh-huh.
But the groaner folks who would never dare tell a soul some of the things that plagues them each and every day and how they're using that to move forward. It's so special that you are just so willing to share that story with us. And I know that it's going to touch so many lives now and in the future.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, thank you.
Yeah.
So any last words for us before we go to our outro? Anything else that we didn't ask before, since we're in your shoes, that you want your listeners to know? How can they contact you on TikTok, Insta, whatever you got?
Yeah, so right now, like you said, I need rest. So I'm away from social media at the moment.
Okay.
But one day I'll be back. And whoever's watching, I hope that, you travel on the journey with me because I can't do it by myself. I always say I need a tremendous amount of cheerleaders.
Beautiful.
So even anyone in the studio with us right now, if you could, just lift me up and encourage me. And when you see me, in the hallways, just let me know that I'm doing a great job because sometimes I need to hear it. So I would encourage anybody, once I return back to social media, I will be sure everything that I'm a part of is my first and last name, and my middle name as well. So I'll be back.
All right. Well, we can't wait to see you.
Yeah.
And I'm just so proud of you.
Thanks.
So thank you for joining us today.
Thanks.
So to our listeners, thank you for listening and watching In Your Shoes. And this is the first edition of the show. You can catch new episodes every other month. You can also listen to our podcast on dragondigitalradio.podbeam.com and watch it on Howard Community College's YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Howard CC Prez with a Z, not with an S. And contact me at president@howardcc.edu. So once again, thank you so much, Jasmira, for joining us today. She is one of the most incredible women, students, just humans that I've ever met. And it's been truly an honor to share this space with you.
Yeah, right back at you.
All right, y'all. We'll see you on the next edition. Bye.